It's pproteus here. I'm joining the Pauper challenge this week, June 18th, with Stompy. Not a 100% conventional list, but no big surprises here. So, can't keep this hand. This hand has 1-drops, a lot better. We keep this. Do I want a second land? That's an interesting choice. So, part of the reason I would like a second land is to just be able to cast my spells in timely manner. Of course, the Kyrian Ranger does get to act like a second land. If my opponent has an easy way of killing the Kyrian Ranger, then I don't want to keep it. Then, I don't want to rely on the Kyrian Ranger if he has an easy way of killing it. But my ability to play a bunch of 2/2s really early should halt that a little, I think. So I'm going to put that in the bottom. If I had Burning Tree Emissary in my hand, it might be a little different. Opponent goes Great Furnace into Flare Husk, so it looks like Affinity. Just checking the event here, there are 65 players. Alright, I guess there are 2 players who joined right at the last second. Interestingly enough, it looks like there are 2 players with no opponent. +1 with a bye. Anyways, so I just get to start with the Nettle Sentinel and hope my opponent doesn't have a broken start. Sometimes Affinity has broken start where they play just 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, and I can't keep up with that, especially not with any pump spells. ATOG. Well, I'm definitely going to attack here. Drawing a land is nice. I'm definitely attacking. If he wants to trade Nettle Sentinel for Flare Husk, I'm okay with that. If he wants to trade Nettle Sentinel for one of his lands, 1 mana land destruction, yes please. On turn 2, I'll let him do whatever he wants. He doesn't seem to want to do very much, so I get to play double Pit Skulk. Now, my opponent might play a less useful artifact here, and then the ATOG looks less fun to interact with. Land number 3, Chromatic Star. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's the less useful artifact. So, I'm not too thrilled about my position here. I really want some kind of way to interact well. He's leaving up all this mana. He could have double Gal Blast or something dumb like that, but I think I just attack because once he plays a 4/4, I have to stop attacking. So I'm going to take advantage of this, try to get all my Pit Skulks out and bloodthirsted. And if he wants to trade he doesn't. I got him scared here. He's scared of a pump spell. Not of Vines, interestingly, but just pump spell. So he's not going to have any sweepers in his main deck. At least that's really unlikely. So I'm just going to flood the board here. I'm happy that he's down to 14. I'll try to deal as much damage as possible before he gets anything good going. I don't feel too optimistic about how this game is going, but he's at 14 and I have 13 power on the board. And he only has 1 creature. That's good for me. I'm going to pay attention to some things to try to not die to Fling. I might die to something like Team or Battle Rage instead, but that's rarer than Fling. So if we just attack the ATOG here, I have to block. because I don't want to just lose to Flame. This is a game where I'm ahead by enough that I don't think there's a huge loss of equity by jumping. Whereas he can fling me for, well, a lot of damage. And if he attacks, of course, it means he can't block when I attack him. Forest was not what I wanted to see, but I think I have no choice here but to attack with everything. Now, he could do something really annoying, like block the Kyrian Ranger and then Galblast and Nettle Sentinel. So I might have to use the Kyrian Ranger to untap Pit Skulk so I have a chump blocker. But my main plan is just don't let the game go long, because eventually he will play 4-4 and that game will get a lot worse. He only played one big creature. Okay, so he's taking 9 damage. Okay, here's my Nettle Sentinel. I'm going to make the Kyrian Ranger untap itself. Play a land so I get to keep bluffing Galblast, or not Galblast, but Vines. Vines would not have been a very good play there, because Vines on the Nettle Sentinel gets stopped pretty easily, and Vines on an unblocked creature puts him to 1. So I'm trying to maintain the idea that I have Vines, even though his life total is so low that he's losing the ability to play around things. He's going to have to play something like 2 creatures here. He's probably going to sacrifice the star because he knows he needs to interact with me. It's possible that he has a Galblast in his hand, but he was so afraid of Vines that he didn't. That he didn't use it. And once he gets desperate, or once he does something where it would have made sense for me to play Vines, one of those two, then he will stop playing around it. So I will keep that in mind and not play into Galblast, because I think it's rather likely that he has it. I haven't given him a good opportunity to use it, and he is a quarter of the way through his deck almost. Alright, so concession there. I don't know what's in my opponent's hand, but wasn't working out too well. So I have 4 Gleeful Sabotage and a Natural State just for this matchup. So let's bring those in. So as you can see, my deck isn't totally stock, but no surprises. I've got 1 Ledgewalker, only 2 Hungers, no Wild Mongrels, 2+1 Vault Scourge, 3 Epics in the board, 1 Longbow in the board, 1 Elephant Guide in the board. I have 3 Groundswells, 2 Munogenic Growths. So I'm open to playing with the numbers, but these numbers have been working pretty well for me. So my opponent's going to bring in, what's that guy? That 1/1 Goblin that kills everything. So I kind of like Vault Scourge here because it survives that. I like flyers. Epic Confrontation is pretty bad. Scatter Charge, it doesn't do anything. Longbow, Elephant Guide. Elephant Guide is something I can consider bringing in. So the important thing in this matchup is that he plays 4-4 and I play 2-2, and I have to attack my 2-2 through his 4-4s. So Munogenic Growths are pretty bad because Munogenic Growth on my 2-2 doesn't get it dies to a 4-4 and it doesn't survive a Galblast. Whereas Groundswell, Turned On Hunger, and Vines, they all accomplish that pretty well. Elephant Guide turns my 2-2 into a 5-5, which survives Galblast and gets to attack through 4-4. I think I side out Ledgewalker here. Just again, my concern is the My concern is that the 1/1, that Krug Clan Shaman, or I'm forgetting its name. And then I've got to find some things to side out. Kind of want to side out Groundswells, but Groundswell's okay. I've changed up my deck a little bit, so I no longer know what I want to sideboard. I think I'm going to sideboard Assembly arbitrarily for now before I come up with a good sideboard plan. I'm going to focus on the gameplay. I've sided out, say, more Young Wolves in this matchup before, but the Young Wolf is what lets me do, well, yeah, I don't know. Young Wolf isn't good against very much, is it? So I can play a Vault Scourge here, or an Elf-Sentinel, or a Young Wolf. I can also play Carrion, but I don't want to do that. So I can go through my opponent's options. Either he's going to play a Carapace Forger or a Galvanic Blast. Those are the two scary things. If he has a Galvanic Blast, it's going to really suck that I don't have a Vines in my hand. I think the right play here is Elf-Sentinel. If he plays a 4/4, I get to Rancor. And if he Gal Blasts, sure. I wonder if he has Frog Knights. Alright, so he's got mana open. That's representing Gal Blast, so I don't want to walk into that. I will play my land and just hit him and then try to put as much power on the board as I can. At some point he will have to tap out and let me Rancor, and I would much rather put the Rancor on the Vault Scourge when he is tapped out though, because then he has to devote a whole card to dealing with the Vault Scourge, and he really doesn't want to do that. Most players would like to ignore 1/1s, and so I want to turn my 1/1 into something that's actually really good. My opponent casts Gear Seeker Serpent, and he leaves up Gal Blast. That's unfortunate. Let's see if he casts the Gal Blast here. Alright, so I have 2 mana. Now it's time to play Kyrian Ranger. I don't want to attack now suddenly into Gear Seeker, because if I have to cast Vines first, then he Gal Blasts. So in order to not get blown out, I'm not going to do that. But I will cast Rancor on Vault Scourge here, and I will trade Vines for Gal Blast if he wants to do that. Let's see if he does. I think here it comes. Yep, okay. The green Dispel. Very sweet card. So yeah, he's not able to erase this, so he needs another Galvanic Blast. Atog is, as usual, scary. He only has 2 cards in his hand. Did he mulligan? I wasn't paying very much attention, was I? No, he didn't mulligan. But okay, sure. So I don't want to attack my creatures into his Atog because he has a Chromatic Star. I'm okay trading a creature for his land. I'm not okay trading a creature for nothing. So if I wanted to attack, I would block the Young Wolf and make a 2/2. But because I don't want to attack with the 2/2s, I'm just going to leave this back, and maybe next turn Young Wolf blocks Atog. I'm going to stay aware of how much damage Fling might deal. Of course, he can always draw random cards and throw off that tally, but right now Fling would deal 11 damage. So I'm okay not blocking now, but next turn I might have to block. Him attacking, of course, requires him to take risks. Okay. So I think I just attack here and then play both Nest Invaders. Or I could just play one and threaten, pretend I have a pump spell. Maybe that's the ideal play. Is he acting like he has another Galvanic Blast? The answer is no, because he would have used that last turn while I was tapped out. So I think the right play is to just cast both Nest Invaders. And I'm going to see if I can scare him into doing something that's bad. I'm bouncing the land so that he doesn't know what my last card is. I don't want to play out my last card because then he will assume my last card is a pump spell. So got my opponent down to 12. Opponent plays another land. He has 6 artifacts in play. Now 7. Fling deals 15 damage. So I have to block everything he attacks with. But he attacks with nothing. I'm surprised to see him attack with nothing. I thought he would attack for sure, but maybe he, with the Atog at least. Why? What does he think is going to happen? I guess he thinks I'm going to attack with everything. So if I do attack with everything, he goes block, 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 and takes 5. My Groundswell adds 4, puts him to 3. That's obviously not attractive. I could think about playing a land in a way to turn on Groundswell during combat, but that's not something I would normally do because it uses my mana weirdly, and so it telegraphs that I have Groundswell. I would rather not telegraph anything. So I'm just going to attack with Vault Scourge. If he has Galvanic Blast, then he has it. But if he does have it, he really should have used it by now. And I'm hoping I will draw a Vines that would basically seal the game. He has another land and a Springleaf Drum. So my opponent's in some trouble here. He's probably going to crack the star. Six, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 artifacts. 9 artifacts is only enough to fling for 19 right now. So I'm not dead to flame. Electrickery. So that's not good. I've got to cast the Groundswell here. Save my Vault Scourge. Right? My Vault Scourge is pretty small clock, so yeah, fast clock. So we're doing this. Vault Scourge lives. He will probably attack with 1 or 2 things. Now that I know he doesn't have Fling, he can't attack with everything. Yeah, so against Electrickery, Young Wolf really shines against the Shaman. not so much. So I'll keep that in mind when I'm deciding if there's a game 3, whether or not to side more of them out. I'm thinking about no. So he can think about attacking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, still has the 8 artifacts. He could certainly force me to chump, but my Vault Scourge is going to put him to 6 at least, which is going to require him to have 2 blockers. And then if I draw a Vines, okay, so he's attacking here. So if I do nothing, he can sacrifice, let's say, all his lands, give it 14 power, deal 17 to me. I go to 5. Vault Scourge attacks him down to 6, and he's dead to anything. Literally anything. If he sacrifices enough to put me to a low life total where I would have to block. Well, if he sacrifices all the lands plus a Springleaf Drum, I go to 5, and then yes, I do have to block the Gear Seeker. No, I don't, because I'm going to gain life off the Vault Scourge. You know what? I'm just going to let him do this. Yeah, he doesn't even sacrifice anything. And there's the Vines. So he has nothing, so I just attack with everything. He blocks, and takes 7 plus 4, and that's lethal. Unless I'm missing something, I have him. So yeah, that's why I thought that was a really weird attack. It didn't really accomplish anything, and it dealt less damage than attacking with either of the other creatures. So I've got 7 here, and I cast Vines with Kicker, and that's game. Whew, okay. Off to a good start in this challenge. 1-0. And I will see you in the next round.